The place that we work in is very down-pressed economically and socially. A lot of people live in dire or destitute poverty. Women who have now ended up being forced into prostitution to provide for their families, either because they're widowed or because the husband can't find a job himself. So they end up in these red light districts. If you could just picture walking through the streets of this red light district, it's just woman after woman out on the corner, thousands of women, just all hoping that they can make enough money to make it through the day. The most profound experience that I had happen was the first time I went into the red light district, and I remember the person that took me in there said, "Do not look down at your feet while you're walking through there. Look into their faces and into their eyes." And when I first walked in there, I looked down. I was scared, I was nervous, I didn't know what to expect. And eventually I just felt like God saying, look at them, they're my daughters, and I love them. The first time that I looked a woman in her eyes, I just felt an empty space when I looked at her. It's just a very dark place. And so you get this sense in this community that if just they had the ability to exit this type of way of making money to a different way, that their whole lives would change and the whole community would be transformed. And so that's what we decided to do, is say, let's start businesses where we can hire these women and give them a different life. So the business that we started in our community is a cafe and bakery. And so we call it a freedom business, and we call it the Freedom Bakery because we primarily exist to give women freedom from the red light districts. Now that I see the women working in the Freedom Bakery, what I feel is a deep sense of purpose, and that God is active and wanting to alleviate the suffering and injustice that so many are facing. I love walking in every day and going back into the kitchen of the cafe and just seeing what God has done in terms of turning the lives around of the people that work for us. Business for transformation is this idea that a business not only exists to make money, but also that it impacts the employees and the lives of the community and people around you in a very positive way that changes their lives too. The world has changed. It's very hard to now get into a closed country saying that you're going to plant a church, and business is one creative way of doing it. We need, accountants, you need marketing and communications people, you need all sorts of different types of people. If anybody is passionate about business and has any types of skills in business, it can always be utilized for kingdom value overseas. I had a lot of options in front of me in terms of how I could have ended up doing what we did overseas. But the primary reason why my wife and I decided to stay with Serge is because of how well the organization treats people and cares for people. And that is a huge value in my own business, and it's a huge value of who I want to be working for. It's very hard to do it alone and to enter these places alone. Closed countries are generally intense places to live and intense places to work, and so it's very important to have a team around you and a team that is all in it together to see the success of the work take place, and Serge has done that really well. I've seen God's grace at the fray. The women and the people that we're working with, it's the least likely people, it's the hardest to reach people, it's the most broken people, most marginalized people that have the messiest lives that you could ever imagine. you really got to enter into the messiness there with them and with your own mess, and allow God's grace to cover it all and bring us forward as a new people and a new creation.